So I have this memory, I can't be more than 3 or so. I'm in the house with my mother. She's helping me stand up because I'm still not very good at it. And she takes me over to the wall where she's painted this eye. And I remember hearing her say, "Let him see you," not to me, to the eye she painted, and just hearing her go, "This is Jamie, they're yours." It's just one of those memories that I look back on and I sort of realise how weird it is now when I don't know, did anyone else's mother used to do this? So we lived in this house by the beach, the sort of, one of those old wooden places, the sort people joke about, like they say it's asking to be burnt down, that sort of thing. Anyway, so she'd paint eyes a lot, and I just always thought that was something people did. It never really occurred to me that would be weird. Like, I remember I was growing up and I talked to people out there and I'd say, well, it makes sense. Like, you want the house to be able to see what's happening in it so it knows what's going on. And I think one time, just remembering, I think one time I caught my mother, like, just teasing them somehow. I don't know, anyway. And I remember thinking that was totally normal and really liking how I felt like people could see me. It worked for me. So there was this time, can't remember how old I was, but my mother used to get these letters, so she'd read them, then she'd burn them, and she'd sometimes have to go away. Don't worry, she'd draw an eye over the stove just to make sure I didn't play with it or anything, that sort of thing. And I don't know, I guess it wasn't until the postman found me that it either occurred to me this was odd. So what followed was a long sort of going through different homes. And I remember I tried to keep up the tradition, but I'd always get in trouble. I feel lucky now because I tried to get a tattoo once, and luckily I was too young, didn't work out, but I remember going around with marker pens whenever I could. And then eventually, when I was old enough to see my mother again, she wasn't doing too well. But it was nice to see her, and I made a mental note that I'd sneak in like some marker pens to where she was staying, so she wouldn't just have to improvise drawing the eyes there. And it was one of those strange things. I don't think, again, I really thought about it, but then growing up it sort of became more and more something that I did reflect on, because I started to talk to other people, they didn't do it, or they'd ask me why I did it, and I didn't really know. And eventually I had this long list of questions to ask, but it was too late. So I remember thinking, well, my mother's not around anymore, there's only one way I could really find out what this was all about. And so the only car I could afford was terrible, but it managed to get me about halfway along the Shell Beach. There was still another walk there, and that meant I had to lug these cans of red and white paint basically a mile or two up the beach. But I did it, and I come to the house, and of course no one's moved in because no one would. And it's around the end of summer, so the house is doing that thing it used to do, where it would basically just breathe out all of the summer air that it had caught in, because the wood would have maintained that. So I'm there, I'm in the house, and I'm walking around, and I see all these eyes on the wall, like I remembered them, but it doesn't feel the same somehow. And I guess I didn't notice how many there were. Like, I remember seeing the one that was about at my height that my mum painted when I was much younger, and all of the others, and I'm just walking around the house, and there's eyes in the bathroom, there's eyes in the kitchen, there's still the eye over the stove. And it's so, I don't know, I guess it just never struck me as that weird, but I'm just thinking, I don't know why she'd do this, and she's not here to answer. Luckily, I find this old wardrobe that I can push aside, and there's enough blank space. So I get out the red and white paint, and this is going to sound silly, but basically I paint like lips and teeth, and I'm just waiting. I don't know why. It made sense at the time, and then there's this creaking sound, and there's this voice.
Awesome.
And that's why I did it. It was mercy. Thank you.